Good evening. If you are tuned in already, you are at the right place at the right time. This is KUTV News Weekend Live, and on this 18th day, our reporters have been busy as usual, gathering and packaging news stories to get you informed. And here, let's get an intro. Remember that this broadcast is live across all our social media platforms. On YouTube, it's KUTV News Kenya, and on X, it's KUTV News_Kenya. And Lucy Kiara is our sign language interpreter. My name is Ochieng, Cynthia. Let's get started. Now, it has been confirmed that 2 people lost their lives in clashes between police and residents yesterday in the Narok County, while 12 and some residents sustained injuries after locals blocked the Narok Mahiu Highway in protest against their livestock being hit by a vehicle. This situation prompted security leaders led by the Director of Operations in the Police Department, William Yampoi IPOA officers, and officials from the Kenha Authority, among others, to visit the area to seek a resolution. And to some other story, President William Ruto has called on religious leaders to take a leading role in guiding the country towards good moral values. Speaking during a meeting with Akorino church leaders at State House, leaders in shaping Kenya's future. In a separate meeting with Ethiopia's Director General of National Security and Intelligence, Ambassador Redwan Hussein, President Ruto reaffirmed Kenya's commitment to fostering peace and establishing and stability in the Horn of Africa through regional collaboration. And sharp reactions from various quarters continue to rise within government circles following controversial allegations by Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi. Director General Nordin Haji to his son's abduction 6 months ago. Local leaders in Garissa have strongly defended the spy chief, condemning Muturi's remarks as divisive and harmful.
Everybody who was in the security sector knows that on that particular night, I reached out to all of them.
Tensions are boiling over in the wake of explosive claims by Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi in his accusation of National Intelligence Service Director General Nordin Haji of being behind the abduction of his son 6 months ago. But in Garissa, community leaders have come out to strongly defend the spy chief.
Wakati yeye alikuwa speaker ya bunge ya Kenya, ndio anti-terrorist bill imepitishwa. Yeye alikuwa speaker. Hiyo sheria haiwezi shika kabila moja. Watu wengi walikuwa wanafikiri sisi jamii ya Northeastern Province ndio itatudhuru. Kweli imetudhuru.
Addressing the media at a local hotel in Garissa, the elders led by Dubat Ame accused Muturi of damaging the integrity of the government officials, particularly in the sensitive and volatile northern region, highlighting that communities in the north have long endured abductions and extrajudicial killings without casting aspersions or sowing division.
Justice Muturi awache maneno ya kugawa wa Kenya. Awe ni mtu ambao mzee anaheshimika, atumie ile heshima yake ile ya zamani, amelinda Kenya.
Some members of the National Assemblies have described Muturi's remarks as reckless and harmful to national cohesion, accusing him of inciting Kenyans against the government and threatening to impeach him.
If my son is arrested by police, I should also tell the country why my son was arrested. I can't just say my son was arrested by so and so. Give the reasons why he was arrested. And then why do you wait for 7 months so that you tell Kenyans why your son was arrested? Why don't you tell them the day he was released?
Ako ofisi kuna babarua ya kutumia kama kuna kitu fulani, lakini mambo ya kuongea in public, hiyo ni maneno ya kishagwa. Hatutaki maneno kama hiyo.
Muturi's allegations made during an event in Kilimani have sparked widespread public debate. While some have lauded his courage for speaking out, others have questioned the timing and intent of his claims, suggesting they could have been political undertones.
I do not support abductions. Okay?
So for me, it has nothing to do with, it's not political. This statement is not political. It is just to say, please, let us now discuss this issue.
To all of us. Following Honorable Muturi's statement, the Director of Criminal Investigations, Mr. Amin, invited the Cabinet Secretary to record a statement. If the idea was to cower Honorable Muturi into silence, they picked on the wrong man. If the bombshell of the Sunday statement was not enough, Honorable Muturi signed the statement, clearly and squarely pointed the blame at the main culprit behind the inhuman abductions.
As the dust settles, all eyes are on how the government will handle the fallout from Muturi's claims as controversy surrounding the Public Service CES and the NIS continues to raise critical questions about leadership and accountability in Kenya.
As to what happens thereafter, I think we cross the Rubicon when we get there.
Don't wait for God to come to your house to talk to you. If you think you cannot serve the government anymore, go do farming. Go do.
The Garissa elders have urged leaders to prioritize national unity and allow state institutions to handle security issues without interference.
Cannot live in fear in a democratic country. Let Kenyans be.
Emmanuel Kutosi, KUTV.
And to some handing over story, the newly appointed Cabinet Secretary for Information Communications and the Digital Economy, William Kabogo, has officially taken over from Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi. During the handing over ceremony at the ministry's headquarters, Kabogo emphasized his commitment to advancing Kenya's digital transformation agenda.
Have a substantive minister in office. The Honorable Kabogo is not a stranger to you. And my request to you is to accord him all the support, all the advice that is necessary.
As you have said, America did what it did yesterday, and that's America. We will do what we will do here because we are Kenya and Kenya is us. What I want to say to those who are using social media, it is important to be responsible. It is also important to enjoy the freedom that is enshrined in our Constitution. Freedom of expression, freedom of saying things that you need to say, but you know that freedom is limited.
When we were being salamiwad, if I may use that terminology, tulikuwa tunasalamiwa. Sasa unapata mtu mzima, wengine hata ni profesa, anajua sheria, lakini anachukua namba ya Mudavadi, anabuaga kule nje, anasema msalamie. And he's a professor.
You know, you're young now. You're 19, you're 20. You will not be 19 forever. The minute you put someone in a coffin and depict someone in a coffin, it may be fun at your age of 20. What happens when you're 42 and your son is 19 or 20 and someone puts you or depicts you in a coffin.
Now, the Council of Governors Health Committee Chairperson and Tharaka Nithi Governor Muthomi Njuki has called on Kenyans to fully embrace the newly introduced health insurance system. Speaking on the matter, Njuki acknowledged the challenges currently facing the system, but stressed on the importance of addressing the issues swiftly to ensure more Kenyans can access the essential health service. Njuki further emphasized that the former National Hospital Insurance Fund is a thing of the past and urged citizens to support the reforms, highlighting the long-term benefit of the newly reformed workforce despite its initial hurdles. The push comes amid debates on the viability and inclusivity of the new health insurance system.
Lazima tumuoshe, tumuvalishe nguo, tupigie msasa. Ile mdudu anataka kukula yeye, tupige dumu. Kama ni kupe, tulete ile dawa nyingine ya kuua kupe mpaka SHA inyoroke ndio watu wapate huduma ya bure. Ipate huduma ya bure kwa nini? Kwa sababu the burden of a disease katika Kenya haitawezekana na mtu akiwa anatoa pesa yake kwa mfuko.
Now, Kilifi County has recorded the first successful laparoscopic surgery. This surgery was performed by Dr. Adrian Park, the chief surgeon from the renowned Johns Hopkins University Hospital, one of the world's leading surgical institutions. A laparoscopic surgery is a high-tech procedure that allows patients to recover fast compared to open surgeries. Kilifi County Governor Gideon Mung'aro has praised the significant healthcare and technological achievement and stated that his government will continue to equip hospitals with modern equipment in the country.
Other parts of the world have been benefiting, and now it's time for this technology, this technique, this expertise to be present to serve the good people of this county. And with me today are the surgeons who are going to be leading this effort. I've just got to know Dr. Moura a bit, but I've known Drs. Noor and Mansour for a long time. They are keen, they are experienced to bring these techniques to the people that they serve here. We need to support them, we need to support more training here, we need to make sure that we have the equipment.
Nikikuja hapa in the next 2 weeks or so or 3, nitaanzisha CT scan, tutafungua kituo cha kuchoma vifaa vya hospitali incinerator. Pia inamaliziwa, lakini mtaona tu mwaka huu kuanzia mwezi wa 6 kwenda mbele tutajaza vifaa karibu hospitali zote. Muhimu tu tunaweza kujaza vifaa lakini hakuna wahudumu. Kwa lazima tujue tukinunua kifaa hiki kuna watu wa kutumia. Kununua kifaa hiki kuna watu wa kutumia.
Now, Tharaka Nithi Governor Muthomi Njuki has called for a fair system to distribute monies collected from the Road Maintenance Levy Fund, urging that the funds be shared across all levels of government to address diverse infrastructural needs. According to the governor, such an approach would accelerate growth and address the pressing demands on the ground. Njoki remarks comes amid a prolonged standoff between governors and members of parliament, with both sides vying for control over the bills generated by the fuel levy. The disagreement has delayed critical road construction project in counties for over 2 years, leaving residents frustrated and projects in limbo.
Wabunge walienda wakafunga, wakasema ile pesa yote ipewe wajumbe, counties watumie pesa ya county, na ila tangu tuanze devolution, ile pesa ya kutengeneza barabara za county ile mingi utaka kwa Kenya Road Board. Na kwa sababu hiyo tulipelekana kotini, sasa kuna kesi, pesa ya barabara imelala kwa bank. Badala ya kutengeneza barabara, kila siku tunavinyana hapa, ile pesa kidogo tunakopa hapa ndio tunasema tunatengeneza barabara nayo, ndio unaona barabara za baba yao zimekwama, zangu zimekwama, na pesa imelala kwa account kwa sababu ya kesi katikati ya wajumbe na watu wanaitwa governors. Ndio tunasema those are necessary wars.
Now, on that note, you're taking a short breather, but we'll be right back. langu ndiye Yesu Bwana, wote waingie kwake. Lango, 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 hili lango liwazi. I am right here for your sake. Now, today we are going to talk about the beginning of a fall. But not just a fall, it is a fall never to recover. If you spend your time sleeping, na tumesema while you are drunk, your senses are sleeping. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. How are you doing today? I'm well in the Lord. I hope you are well in the Lord. First of all, I'd like to thank our Father in heaven. They say broken things can't be fixed, right? But that's a lie. Genesis chapter 3 verses 8. That evening, they heard the Lord God walking in the garden, and they hid from him among the trees. But the Lord God called to the man, "Where are you? For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whomever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." Catch me right here only on KUTV every single Sunday.
Access to knowledge. Solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Welcome back. Now, a section of TESO leaders in Busia County have threatened to withdraw from Busia County executive leadership should the Busia Deputy Governor Arthur Obero be removed as the county minister for health in the planned reshuffle to take place next week. Speaking in Machakusi, leaders led by Bukayo North Sub-County MCA Gadi Ijaka criticized the alleged cartels in the governor's office exploiting hospital fund after the facility improvement financial bill was approved. Malaba North MCA Patrick Omanyala opposed any humiliation of the TESO community, while Angurai North MCA Isaac Wamalwa threatened to initiate impeachment of some ministers and chief officers in the county should need be.
Governor wetu wa Busia Mheshimiwa Arthur Odera kumtoa kama waziri wa health. Sisi wote tunajua wakati waziri wetu ambaye ni deputy governor alipewa hiyo department, health ilikuwa kwa kiwango kikubwa ilikuwa chini, lakini kwa uwezo ambao ameweka pale na nguvu ambayo ameweka katika hiyo department, leo hii tunaweza sema kuna mabadiliko machache ikilinganishwa na vile aliipata. Tumegundua ya kwamba hao pamoja na hao makateli wanajaribu kutumia nafasi hiyo kutoa Arthur Odera kwa sababu ni mtu wa msimamo, anaweza wazuia, wanataka walete yule mtu ambaye anawasid ama anaweza kubaliana na wao ili pesa za FIF iweze kufujwa na ikuliwe na watu.
Lakini mabadiliko ambayo inasema kwamba deputy governor baki tu deputy governor na asipewe nafasi nyingine yoyote kuhudumia wananchi katika hiyo idara, hiyo itaonyesha heshima yake na community, kwa sababu huyo yuko hapo kwa niaba ya community, kwa sababu sisi tulimweka hapo kama community. So asipoheshimika na kupewa hiyo nafasi kuendelea na ile matunda tumeshuhudia katika kaunti mzima, si community peke yake ya TESO. county mzima, hospitali zote kuanzia Budalangi mpaka Changara. Tunaona effort zake.
More than 170 million Americans will be cut off from using TikTok this Sunday unless its China-based parent company that had sell the platform before then. The looming ban comes after the U.S. Supreme Court upheld a law banning the super popular video app on grounds of national security concerns. Politicians in the U.S. urge that China could use TikTok to gain data on millions of Americans on the app and use the information for harassment, recruitment, and beyond. TikTok users in the United States, calling themselves TikTok refugees, now say that they have started flocking to another China-based social media platform known as Red Note. However, despite the U.S. Supreme Court upholding the ban on TikTok, President-elect Donald Trump has said that he will decide TikTok's future in the U.S. once he assumes office on Monday. Now, the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas allows Israel forces, allows Israel forces to remain part in Gaza until all Israel hostages are released. Linda Grastein reports for AVO from Jerusalem.
The ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas includes a partial withdrawal of Israeli forces in the first stage. That would allow the Palestinians who fled to the southern part of the Gaza Strip to return to their homes in the north. In the second stage, the army would withdraw after all of the hostages are released. That could take months. Analysts say incursions will still be likely.
I do think what you'll see is regular Israeli raids into Gaza the way that you see Israeli raids into the West Bank. But that doesn't require keeping forces in a large amount in Gaza. It just requires the freedom of movement.
Other analysts say Israel is preparing for an extended stay in parts of Gaza. The Nitzarim corridor divides North and South Gaza. It has been transformed into a wide paved road lined with dozens of army barracks, suggesting a long-term military presence. The Israeli Defense Forces say this is not the plan.
The decision of how long we are there is a decision by our government, and we have said multiple times, if needed so, we can clear that area within 24 hours.
Hamas officials said their organization had won the war. In a televised speech, Hamas acting chief Khalil al-Hayya said that Israel failed to achieve its goals in Gaza. Some Israeli analysts caution that Hamas remains a force in Gaza and could gain strength if Israel withdraws completely at the end of the hostage deal.
Hamas has not been defeated militarily, totally, and Hamas has not been... Hamas is still in control of the Gaza Strip. Those were the two most important Israeli goals that were defined by the cabinet, and they have not yet been achieved. That is why this specific deal is not a good one strategically, but it's a good one from the moral and the national point of view of getting our people back.
The army says it wants a buffer zone of at least 1 kilometer along the border to make sure that a Hamas invasion of Israel can never happen again. Linda Gradstein, VOA News, Jerusalem.
Now, Linda's story brings us to taking our second break here on KUTV Weekend Live, and be sure to engage with us across all our social media platforms. On YouTube, it's KUTV News Kenya. On X, it's KUTV_Kenya. We'll be back.
Badala ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili.
Bila uoga, watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi
hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
Ni nguzo na uso wa jamii. Kupanda shuka, akawa tuzo. Ukakamavu wake, ukatii, na kumfanya mwenye bidii. Kwa machozi na makeke, akabaini jinsi ya kuweni. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari, kwa jinsi alivyo ng'ari. Mimi ni mwanamke mwake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake, nami Caroline Kimweli.
Now, thank you for staying tuned, and remember, your feedback is very much valuable here on Weekend Live. And remember that where you're supposed to be engaging us too is KUTV News Kenya, that is on YouTube, and KUTV News _Kenya on X. Now, the ODM party is caught up between the ultimate game of musical chairs. Are they the opposition or the government, or just they are here for the snacks? Now, and in the digital concern, there is a new ICT boss. He today ready to crack down on the online critics faster than you can see and control. Get ready for a proverb package right on the week. Here, laughter, the only medication, and the doctor is officially out. This is the by the way.
Sahi tuko kazi.
A stitch in time saves 9.
The Bible says in Matthew 11:28, Your Excellency, tangu niwache pombe, siku hizi Biblia mimi niko hatari sana.
It is 9 p.m. Weekend Live, by the way.
Mimi si mtu mbaya.
Tunakujua, wachana na sisi bana.
Mambo ya kupiga mdomo sisi hatutaki.
Sasa shida iko wapi?
Anapiga makofi kuliko wananchi.
You also not a bad man.
And the goal is to stitch you in time.
Alafu sisi wengine tumekuja kuongezea speed.
William Kabogo, welcome. When I last saw you, you didn't have a bald. Is this a fake bald or a real bald?
And if I'm confirmed, I'll fix it.
Of course, the proverbs are ready to go.
CV, lastly, I went through, you have not indicated how many children you have. Can you share with the committee how many children you have, Dr. Kabogo?
In Africa, we don't count children, so you can ignore that.
That was a tough one. Yeah?
Kafogo was bulldozing through the questions.
Owned by the billionaire Enoch Marx from the US.
But this one.
Pardon? Starlink.
Go on.
Had them calling for some medication.
This is even Panadol?
I have some in my pocket if it's just Panadol.
Back to the proverbs.
Hapa wengine namsikia mtu mmoja juzi asema, Asanjoho amkuja juzi.
Whomever made this error must have not known about 001's error.
Juzi.
Henga kwamba na uzuri niko na mhenga mmoja hapa anaitwa Waziri Joe, tuko naye hapa.
I think that confirms you have been around.
Tuheshimiane bana. Tutaheshimiana safari.
How about some wisdom?
Ubaya siku hizi mimi niko na boss hapa. Sasa paka nipime nini? Maneno.
Are you sure? Even when Gashungwa is being devoured.
Kwa wengine tu governor hapa tunasikia wanapiga kelele. Tuwatembeze tusiwatembeze.
Watembee wasitembee?
Pardon me. I said Gashungwa, not Ishungwa.
Muko chonjo?
Hiyo ni sawa. I want to add my colleagues who are angling to lead the ODM party that you are wasting your own time.
Tuheshimiane bana. Tutaheshimiana safari.
It is not allowed for members to be preaching the gospel of other political parties other than the parties on which they were elected. That is the law.
Founder member of ODM.
You don't need to do opinion poll, you don't need to campaign, you don't need to chest up, you don't need to threaten us. Don't threaten us because you are wasting your own time. Yeah, the party will be spearheaded by Opio and I.
Back to the proverbs.
Fisi ni tamaa ilimuua. Aliponuka harufu ya nyama akaenda njia mbaya, panda akapasuka msamba.
Proverbs from then.
When you see the dog go into the bush and come back running with his tail coiled between his legs, you know that the dog has seen something more dangerous.
Your Excellency, mwanasiasa kazi yake ni ngumu. Kama kitu hataki na ni kitu mzuri hataki. Ndio Somalia wanawako na methali wanasema kama mtu anataka mke yako, hata ukipatia msichana yako amefika, hawezi kubali, anataka tu mke yako tu. Hawezi kubali. So
Proverbs from now.
Wahenga wanasema asiyefunzwa na mamaye atafunzwa na ulimwengu.
Watu wengine wakiongea juu ya ODM wajua wewe ni founder member.
All our members, the SG included, must be guided in the remarks regarding 2027 and that we exist as a political party independent and ready to battle it out for power with all the other existing political parties.
Tutarudi tukiwa peke yetu. Siku hiyo ndo utajua haujui. Ukituletea noma, tunakurudishia noma.
Mtu analalanga kura inaibwa. Munituma Addis Ababa niende nichunge kura isiibwe kwa sababu
Majenzi nyinyi ndio the story of the future.
By the way,
muhakikishe mumepata haki yenu. Mnasikia nyinyi? Sio kukaa hapo tu.
And by the way, from that by the way story by Emmanuel Kutosi, we've shifted gears to some sports news. Now, the Mara Sugar put 3 sluggish Mathare United in the Football Kenya Federation Premier League match played today. David opened the scores sheet for the host in the 30th minute before Bats Awita added the second goal 14 minutes later. Noah Jagongo sealed Mathare United fate with 80th minute strike to hand Mara Sugar 3 crucial points. In other matches played today in the FKF Premier League, Kakamega Homeboys sank Bidco United at Mumias Sports Complex. Brian Ishihanda 5th minute strike proved to the defense between the two sides. At the same time, Ulinzi Stars gunned down Kariobangi Sharks courtesy of Javan Omondi goal. Now, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to spend some 30 or so minutes with us here at Weekend Live, that is on KUTV. Lucy Kiare has been our sign language interpreter. My name is Ochieng Cynthia. Till next time, do you have a good night.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pepopa si vuguvugu. Pepopa ni idea.
Sazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, hiyo inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni Duniani Leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Anne Mahero, an endometriosis warrior and a nurse in profession, had to undergo pain for the longest period possible due to the socialization of pain in the society. With endometriosis, pain became part of her life and hindered her day-to-day activities when she was needed. However, she fights with it till she becomes a warrior.
So I constantly had painful periods growing up, even in my teenage years, particularly in high school. I think high school was the worst. While I was doing my KCSE, I remember it was history paper 2. I passed out, and you bet my principal thought, this girl is not ready for this exam. She's just freaking out. It was terrible.
Through an accident, she finally got her medical report that she had endometriosis.
Funny story. It was a bike accident. I was crossing my avenue and a bike hit me. It was riding from the opposite direction. So what happened after the accident is I developed some pain around my abdomen, and when I went to the hospital, they did an ultrasound. They didn't find anything abnormal in the ultrasound other than what seemed to be some pooling of blood around my umbilical stump. I had tests done on that, a biopsy, and from that is when they diagnosed that I had endometriosis.
Now, up to 10% of women of productive age in Kenya has endometriosis. Often, endometriosis is mistaken for other diseases since it affects different parts of the body, and thus doctors ironically end up treating the wrong diagnosis.
In 2017 is when I had my first chest x-ray, and it showed that I had a collapsed lung. And the doctors were asking me funny questions. They were asking if I had a violent boyfriend, if I had been hiking up Mount Kenya recently, things that would trigger the collapse of a lung.
Ladies suffering from endometriosis live with it 6 to 10 years before actual diagnosis, which end up suffering a great deal. Elsie Wandera, an endometriosis warrior and the founder of Endometriosis Foundation of Kenya, had to bear the pain for more than 10 years.
I started presenting the symptoms for endometriosis when I was 13 years old. I think around 13, 15, between that age, which was the same time that I started my periods. And so it took about 10 years, over 10 years, for me to get diagnosed with endometriosis. By that time I was 26, that's when I knew what I was suffering from.
An endometriosis and fertility expert, Dr. Charles Muteshi, further sheds light on what endometriosis is.
When you look at the womb lining, the womb is the uterus, or where the baby would be, but women menstruate from the womb every month. So the lining cells can find themselves in other parts of the body. And if that's the case, they can cause bleeding and pain, and that's what we call endometriosis.
A chronic pain during menstruation is a key symptom of endometriosis.
I used to have terrible, horrible cramps.
Menstrual pain is often mistaken for a normal kind of pain, but there is a thin line between a usual pain and a chronic and acute pain caused and brought about by endometriosis. Other symptoms include heavy bleeding during periods or between periods, trouble with infertility, bloating, nausea, and fatigue.
Endometriosis can present in variable ways, and it affects different parts of the body. So if it's in the pelvis, it can be around the fallopian tubes, around the bowel, the bladder, or the ovary. It can also be in the chest or the belly button or umbilicus. Those are the commonest parts in which you find endometriosis.
The pain can, however, be managed in 3 ways depending on the type of endometriosis. The treatments include hormonal therapy, where drugs modify the hormonal environment by suppressing the ovarian activities, surgical treatment, where the lesions are eliminated, and through the painkillers. The treatment is, however, tailored to each patient's need.
The treatment of endometriosis is individualized, and what that means is that every patient who has endometriosis is evaluated by the doctor who is specialized, and their treatment is tailored to their needs specifically.
Struggles and uncertainties knocked in Anne's life, and change was inevitable.
Part of the things I've had to change is choosing to live more intentionally, appreciating each day as it comes. I've learned to take more precaution when it comes to the things that I eat, particularly plants or vegetables and fruits that are known to cause inflammation.
Epidemiological data suggests that the risk factors to endometriosis include early menstrual period, shorter cycle length, long and heavy menstrual flow, and reduced gravidity, which is a number of times a female has been expectant. Moreover, some endometriosis cases have been linked to infertility.
Most girls who have endometriosis will end up having children, so their fertility is not significantly compromised. However, there will be a few of them in which, if the endometriosis is so extensive that it's damaged their ovaries or their fallopian tubes, they may have challenges getting pregnant.
However, there is hope for the endometriosis patients brought about by endometriosis organizations in partnership with hospitals such as Aga Khan University Hospital. One of the organizations heavily creating impact on the patients' lives is the Endometriosis Foundation of Kenya, founded by Elsie Wandera. Being an endometriosis survivor, she saw the need of having such an organization.
I felt that I was not getting enough answers about how to manage this condition called endometriosis, and therefore the need to ensure that the women who continue to suffer in silence, that their voices are heard, and that they also get directed to the best care in order for them to manage the condition.
Through the Endometriosis Foundation of Kenya, many endometriosis patients have found refuge and their voices have been heard.
Here we can share our experiences, encourage each other, learn about the symptoms that we have, get more information on them.
The foundation, having a global position, is well represented in the World Endometriosis Organization, having Elsie Wandera, an endometriosis warrior, in the steering committee.
That's again why I was just like, we need to figure like what this is, like how is it that we live, that was, we were in the 21st century and we still did not have answers about why millions of women continue to suffer.
The month of March marks the Endometriosis Month awareness, where the endometriosis advocacy organizations focus on the well-being of the patients.
One of the projects that we have, but we want to, just do a fresh campaign around it, is the EndoBuddy system, where we pair people, women who are part of our Telegram and support group, with someone who is within your proximity, like geographically.
Unfortunately, endometriosis patients have to dig from their pockets since insurance companies rarely cover endometriosis. This is credited to endometriosis not being categorized as a non-communicable disease to qualify for a subsidized medication and treatment through the NHIF.
You will take drugs this month and they'll allow you to take them. Next month, you'll go and get drugs, they say, no, these are hormonal. They were still hormonal last month. But I think